Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We'll talk about business strategy and data strategy in context of master data management. And we will talk about the MDM tool selection. I am Director of Data Strategy and Insights at Compunal Digital. And with over 20 years of experience with master data management system and data management practices, I'm here to share my learnings and insights of how this all ties together and what's the right way to go about building your business strategy and data strategy that is completely aligned with your MDM program and how to get it off the ground with a good MDM tool selection. It's a lot of information. Please bear with us for next 30 to 35 minutes, and hopefully this will be a good use of your time. Okay, we'll start with some context. You probably, if anyone says that they are dealing with less data today than they were, yesterday, they probably tuned out. We are living in a world where data is growing explosively, it's growing exponentially, and we have more data to deal with every single day, both in our personal lives as well as in the organizations. And in 2021 alone, there was estimated 79 zettabyte of data created worldwide. But what is more surprising is how much of that data is actually replicated and duplicated. Like over 90% of data is actually replicated and duplicated. This is not just a fact, but this is a symbol and representation of what kind of data that we have to deal with day to day and in our organization's life. Right. Then the second fact that has been emerging for over years is anything that helps manage data, anything that helps share data, facilitates data management has intrinsic value. The data as a service industry has grown from 8 billion has grown to about $8 to $10 billion a year industry. Also, we see players like Snowflake has grown to a market cap of almost $50 billion in just 10 years. So there's a lot of value in terms of how the data management practice is used in a company. Now, we also noticed that in the market, most companies want a direct customer relationship. Right? And having control of your customer relationship basically is a strategic advantage. And so most companies, the customer data management is not a choice any longer. You can't delegate it to someone else and not worry about it. It is a business strategy now, right? So owning your customer relationship and leveraging them and generating value out of it is pretty much the key. And what we recommend to our client is that no matter which vertical industry, which verticals you are in, you build via a data company culture. Right, and we'll go about a little more what it really means. What is the data company culture, and not just the which industry vertical you are in. Now, the second big context to our webinar today is duplicate data and replications. Right, as we collect data, as we have more sources of data, everyone tries to be differentiated. The data starts to become diverging, has flavors. Is in various shape and forms, and this all has to be brought back in together. And this is done in so many different ways, but master data management is essentially the practice that helps you establish, we call the single version of truth, we call it the ultimate data management practice, right? And you may have customers flowing in your sales system, your marketing system, your customer management system, same people even may be existing in your HR systems, but do you know and can you make out which real world person is represented in your system as one record or 10 different records, right? And so having deduplication and having the consolidated deduplicated data makes it entirely different how business processes run. If you have a huge amount of duplicates, your business processes will be inefficient. And that is the yesterday's or yesteryear's practice. As we move forward and as MDM has percolated into every industry and big and large and small companies, the business processes has also evolved in that light. And so we'll talk about a little bit of that paradigm shift as it goes along. So this is the context of where we come from and what is the MDM value proposition. Okay, So if you see at a very basic, the key value proposition that MDM system brings is they provide you business entities data that is cleansed, standardized, deduplicated, and consolidated. They also add context to it. There could be timelines, there could be affiliations, relationship between various business entities. It is also expected and is attempted to be most accurate and complete information about those business entities in your organization. It's also transaction independent. It's automated. So as you accumulate changes, as the data change, the people move, they change their name, last name, they change their jobs, etc. It all stays up to date, it stays accurate, and it in an automated fashion, the deduplication continues. And so it doesn't matter how the data has been moving, what additional sources you are receiving data from, how many more third-party vendors you are buying data from, increasing the size of data as a service industry constantly, it still stays good. And it is well-governed data, because data governance is an essential part of any and every MDM program. And what MDM systems do is they essentially help you expand the notion of governance across the enterprise. MDM system being the key central system of an enterprise for business entities data, they allow these practices to essentially be shared across and establish a wider, larger umbrella of governance practices, umbrella of rules and data regulations to be applied consistently across application ecosystem. And these things then can be measured as the data quality KPIs, as the MDM KPIs, and your data value increases as your KPIs improves over time. Right. So MDM systems essentially help you remove bad data, help you validate data, help you align and standardize data to the reference list. There is another adjacent term called reference data management, you might have heard. And it also helps you establish and systematize the understanding of which data to trust over what period of time and how the data should be treated. And all that systematic knowledge can be now automated within an MDM system, providing you with the most accurate and complete consolidated contextual information of your business entities. And this is, in a nutshell, is your MDM value propositions, which every company should try to measure and establish KPIs here for your MDM program. Now, in a generic and in a historical sense, most companies try to measure these after the fact. And the reason I bring that up is now that MDM practice is almost 3 decades old, 2 decades more actively, and in last 10 years, there's complete explosion of platforms. There is no need to not know upfront what value MDM brings and tie it back together with your business strategy and data strategy upfront. And this is essentially the theme of today's webinar, as to understanding the MDM value proposition even before implementing the program, tying it to your business strategy and data strategy. How do you quantify and how do you see the effect of improving those KPIs on your business growth, and seeing that in action, and in return generating the data demand for those KPI improvements. Okay, so next slide, please. So in a nutshell, the way I put it is MDM gives your data wings. Probably you have heard that somewhere else as well. But essentially, your business processes fly with the data that has improvement of quality entrusted by the MDM system and its governance system. And once your data have wings, your business processes really fly. And you can see that in your KPIs and all. So we get to understanding that data is important. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of duplicate data. And MDM system brings a systematic implementation of how you improve your data quality KPIs and specific features that MDM provides, including deduplication and ability to systematize the trust on the data over a period of time. The data essentially becomes a strategic asset for your organization. The strategic asset is a set of resources or capabilities where your business gets a competitive advantage. And it's usually difficult to trade and imitate. And essentially, it's important to understand in today's organization that data, having good quality data, is a strategic advantage. And once again, that's where we say build via a data company culture and treat data as a strategic asset. Okay, so once again, more data, more duplicate data, more challenges in data management practices, and MDM provides answer to such challenges, and being able to capture that and treating the value that MDM system provides on top of your transactional data for business entities, it makes the data as a strategic asset. Okay, now we see this all the time, that how companies pull ahead in their business endeavors and how they put their strategies and how they use the data to leverage their position to make decisions that push them further up, right? We see Netflix deciding how or which shows to produce, or Amazon deciding which private label products to carry based on data, and that purely pushes them up the value chain and up the growth and revenue ladders. And a good data-driven business strategy often leads to growth in not just the primary and adjacent market, but it can open doors to completely new markets as well. Netflix getting into the gaming market may be an example of where they can assess the data, they can analyze, and they can see what is their actual competitor. It's not other streaming services alone, but it's gaming industry as well, right? And so the right data and right quality data and right metrics can allow you to make business decisions and allow you to develop business strategies that can actually push your business forward. Once again, we say treat data as your strategic asset. And when you treat data as a strategic asset, the first thing you say is, if it's a strategic asset, what's its value, right? What data to have value for me? It's a roundabout way of saying what would be good for me to know and how I can know it, right? And so you assess the data's value proposition that is used in the business strategy. Now, typically, businesses arrive at, I need this data, what's the best way to get this data? And they assume the data quality, right, for that data. However, in most cases, data quality is never a given. It's the biggest challenge in terms of using data for business practices. And that's where, if you align the ownership of data with the ownership of business outcome, you can essentially ensure that in order to improve business outcome, the data will get improved, right? And so this is the strategic alignment that you have to establish when you're driving your MDM program through business strategy. You have to ensure that the data ownership is also aligned towards the same business outcome that you are looking to get value for out of your MDM program. And once you do that, you would understand that as the KPIs moves in more desirable directions for data quality, for all the features that we talked about in the MDM's value proposition slide, your consolidated data, contextual data, most accurate data, and transaction independent data is how you would see that they are providing the business value, and incremental change in those KPIs results in the incremental value generation and sometimes a leap of value generation on the business strategy side. And so what actually happens is it's the data considerations right up front on the business strategy and a good understanding of how incremental data quality KPI changes would result into a return on your business strategy outcomes, allows you to focus on the right data and the right data management practices. And so essentially you are creating a data pool, you're creating a data demand in your organization where everyone has a visibility that if they took an additional action on the data, if they build the MDM program and provided one additional aspect of data quality, how the business outcome will differ. This is completely different mindset and completely different approach of saying we are doing something, it's working or it's not working or it's partially working. Let's try and tweak the data and see if it changes anything, right? And so you are essentially asking for a better quality data. You are asking for, I want to market something and I want unique household, how much marketing I need to do. And if I want to reach to a certain revenue, how much additional household I would want to market, right? And so householding of the data is driven through the strategy as opposed to an after the fact KPI that you report and say, oh, maybe we have to do something about it, right? So once you use the well-defined data demand and supply, you can use it to define your data strategy and manage your value harvesting from the data. And it's very important, like you would see data advocates always trying to establish the value of the data so that the right resources can be assigned and allocated for data management practices. And this is a very good way I've found that if you align your data quality KPIs and the value proposition from master data system to your business strategy and data strategy, it's much easier to assign resources and allocate resources to all your programs and see the value that flows out. That's a very proactive approach. With that, we'll get into the business strategy itself, right? So, business strategy is essentially a tool to achieve your business goal.